again. I probably don't need my awesome glasses. Yeah, well, there's a couple things I want to talk about. Okay, the first thing was I was kind of curious for, Buzz Buttons. What's the name again? I always Buntzums. Sorry, it's funny how you just recognize like words as just all. Okay, so I would like some clarity from you. I'm going to talk a little bit more about cafe and some stuff I read, but because at one point you said, well, if you said they're okay, I'm sure they're okay. And it was a little bit sarcastic. But it was hard to tell. And because you have a lot of comments back and forth, and then you answered me and you seemed to say something about that made it seem like, no, you thought maybe they were okay. Because I had said, well, no, I'm not just saying they're okay. You can't do that from a few hours. But you can go, there are some sites that then go to their site, you immediately go, yeah, come on. And the veiling that might be taking place is not very deep. I think Cafe at least has some writers and stuff that care about some real men's issues. And there are men's issues. Okay, look, I had an abusive spouse. And one reason I put up with it, I think, is attitudes and various things. And, I know it's for real, right? I got stitches, had boiling water thrown on me. It was bad. Okay. Now, if a men's rights wants to go into this delicate issue and go into real issues, I think, I think that could be okay. Obviously, that's not necessarily the motivational law. But look, on the other hand, that's not even the whole issue. I mean, even if they're totally legit, of course, any misogynists that want to be activists and misogynists and express their misogyny, they're going to be attracted, right? Just like anybody that hates men because, maybe they just literally hate men. Maybe they have no need for men, and maybe they hate women too even, and it's like, might go to a feminist. Well, no, that might not make sense. The point is you're going to attract that. When you have a protest, you would attract the young anarchists that just are there to start the riot at the end if they can. You do attract this kind of thing. So, okay, I got interrupted. So, okay, what's going on? So let me say, so Cafe, I think, so here's the thing. So if you have a men's rights group, you could have unsafe things. You could attract people that are the way the feminists are worried about. I would suggest, though, you can't make a subject matter hate speech. Right? It's not cool what some of the student unions say about how they're going to make these determinacies. Right? On the other hand, of course, there's going to be some of that mentality as a part of MRA, as a movement, especially right now. So it's just that there's not going to be a way to inhibit it. Don't happen. Fire alarm, don't happen. It will be better, I think, probably to attend those things as feminists. And, at the very least, you'll find out, well, what's going on in some people's heads, some men and some women, that's making them think this way. Both ways. A misogynistic way or a non-misogynistic way, and they're just dubious of feminism, or they're fine with feminism and they just want to add in some men's issues. Going to this meeting, that at least would come out from it. And it could be, because there's definitely some people that have written issues like this, that, like I mentioned in my other video, and those also are attracted. They may be a minority. I think that would still be good. Those people need to get in touch with other activists that actually want to solve problems like that. I know many, many feminists, but I think just about every feminist I've ever worked with. Because when I think of feminists, I think of actual political activists that go and do things and help candidates and try to get parks done. And a lot of people in that sphere consider themselves feminists, and they would all think that little boys that have been assaulted should be supported as well, and none of them are, hate men. Okay, a couple other things just to mention. This is weird. I noticed a lot of people out there when I was looking at MRAs, I'm just going to mention this, they say Gloria Steinem ran a CIA front cover operation and went out with Henry Kissinger. Isn't that ridiculous? That she actually did run a CIA front organization. She admits that in Europe to disrupt some communist meeting there. How did nobody told me that? Yeah, I'm always interested when liberal people are involved with the CIA, like Marcos Melitzis interviewed with the CIA for 6 months while he was running his liberal blog. It was kind of interesting when people found that out afterwards. It's like, that's okay. The CIA is a liberal organization. Anyway. But I did not confirm that she ever dated Henry Kissinger. But if she worked for the CIA, then he was a colleague, so that was interesting. Also, that dude that used to be, and now someone Farrell, Warren Farrell maybe or something, that was speaking there. I tried to figure out, so was he really a rape apologist? Now they had an excerpt from his book. Finally, I found that why people are saying this, because he was talking about nonverbal yeses. And I was thinking about this, because I haven't read his book, and you get screwed, you take things out of context. Many times I've seen people, take books out of context, especially if they're serious works. Context especially can be important. On the other hand, I have to say that my gut reaction to that is that can't be good, because see, we can't de-blur every situation, and you have to find out which side to fall down on. All right, so we have a situation of a he said, she said thing. And the only way out of that I know is if we could judge each other better. But you can't really blame people for not, for the delusions of love and attraction. Where someone might misjudge a character and think they could trust him, and the person would come around and just accuse them of a false rape. That's not strictly speaking a gender issue. That's an untrustable people issue. But it is a law enforcement issue, and the statistics in which something might be abused because maybe it's easily abused by a certain kind of person that's into abusing it. Those are legal issues and fair issues for activists to claim a systematic bias against some group. So anyway, I'm just throwing all this up in the air. I think that if you have a men's right group cafe and it's totally innocent, it's still going to draw, it's going to get speakers that are all over this controversial area. But I'm for engagement. And I think, I believe in minority rights. So I believe if there's 1% of men's rights activists that are really no, I got sexually assaulted, and then people, I couldn't get any treatment. I want boys in the future to get some help in my situation. A 1% like that, it's worth us having all our arguments with all the people that just want to be assholes on the internet and all of this noise. Just if we could dig down and get a signal, those are real issues. All right? And I actually think the best male right issue to make progress, cut through division, right? Only for people that aren't interested in MRA as a hobby. Like atheism on YouTube is about finding a theist to make fun of, largely. That kind of MRA that's not going to go anywhere. But I think the issue of male suicide is fascinating, because there's this historical, and somebody, I forget, Sausage Mash or someone, was already making the biological justification of male suicide. Like there's an evolutionary reason. Who gives a fuck? There's an evolutionary reason that a tiger wants to eat your family. Big fucking deal. That doesn't mean you're going to let it go and happen. Right? So if there is a biological reason, or it's stressful work, or it's this or that or the other, I find that interesting. And I think we might find that in a lot of ways. Okay, the major system of oppression is this classist notion of rank by birth, rank by economic status, just this automatic inherent assumption that there has to be a rank out there to base decisions on, right? And it might be that system that's oppressing men in a way that men can't handle. So a lot of men just try to get out of it. It is terrible. This male pecking order stuff is ridiculous, right? And anybody rational, it's especially ridiculous because it's like mating ritual bluster. It's not real manliness, it's feather showing. You know, you're dancing around in a big shiny dress. It's supposed to be masculine because your culture thinks it's masculine. Anybody that stepped to the side of that, it's like, that's ridiculous. And they drag you in, and you try to step to the side, they automatically try to treat you as if you're an outcast and gamma. They make that assumption all the time. They've been very surprised when they meet someone that's like plenty aggressive, plenty like, no, I'm not passive, I just don't like the game you guys play. So I think the engagement is better, and you got to find somebody that's trying to bring an activist attitude. Because yeah, when you get together in a protest, you can have all kinds of people attracted to that subject, and that's fine. That's what we want. We want to have those discussions. And when I say the feminists could attend the cafe things, they could do it outside with signs. I don't think they should pull fire alarms. I don't think they should try to get charters revoked. I don't think they should try to get the subject classified as a hate speech area.